So if you hit the... Oh, we're back live.
I
We're
think
live.
we're back, everybody.
Hey.
We're back.
Survey
Yay,
says.
I think we did it. I think I can see it, so that means it works.
I see humans again.
Yay.
Hey. Okay.
So we were assembling our
Engagement.
roll, right? And we know that everyone's sworn to the Legion, so we get 1 die.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the question is, does anybody distrust the leadership? Or not fear them enough to obey orders?
No. I don't. I trust my fellow Panyar on this mission.
Exactly. Same.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
All Panyar stay together. It's a rule.
So you don't lose a die. Go ahead, Eric. Take it away.
Right. Cool. So we don't lose a die from that. Our parameters are required specialists and equipment on this mission. Yes, they are.
So
Which means we don't.
we
don't lose a die. Intel. Did the commander spend intel? No. So we don't gain a die. Is everyone on this mission a specialist? If so, take 1 die. That's not true in this case.
Okay, so we're still at 1D, and now we drop down to scouting.
Yep. And now the two criterion for engagement roles for scouting missions. The first one is speed. Did the quartermaster spend horses to equip this mission? That is not a question we addressed yet.
That is something that I can answer. Let me look at. No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So then we don't gain that extra die. And then stealth. Is any soldier starting with a heavy load? If that's true, we take minus die.
No.
I think we should all do at least normal.
Normal.
I think normal.
Sounds
yeah.
fine.
Normal was my plan.
Yeah. Okay,
As lay doctor. Lay doctorb. Right? That's how it works. Okay.
All right. At this point, everyone please select your loads, and then we'll make the engagement roll. So normal or less. Eric, do you want to spin up the dice while we do that?
Yeah, so that's 1 die, right?
Yep.
Easy.
Just
Let me just do a fortune roll. Let me do it so we can show off the cool fortune. So I do engagement, primary, and we're rolling 1 die. 6. Starting this day off right, everybody. Starting this day off fucking right.
I mean, we were wondering, like, is this gonna go like last time? Are we just gonna have all the 6s and crits? And I mean, if this one roll is gonna show us, then yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So good start. I will describe the scene in a second, but there's one piece of thing that I had to talk to you folks about for the gear. You folks are going like past enemy lines and into a town. You're going into into Carlsberg, which is the old capital of Aldermark. And it's kind of a long trip. Like this is like a 2-3 day trip kind of thing. So if anybody does not bring supplies or have a friend that can bring supplies for them, let me know, because then we'll talk about what happens when you're hungry.
Okay.
No, I mean,
What's that under?
It should just be a general, like it's gear.
Yeah. Verdant's gonna bring fresh food stores for sure.
I don't see.
Yeah, I just meant like under the items
tick. Bedroll kit, medical kit.
I don't see it either, but that's okay. You can always just click add.
Supplies.
Yeah, just
And
be
you
like
call
supplies.
it supplies.
Yep.
How do I?
It's basically like food and usual like stuff.
So I'll bring the food and supplies. It's two ticks or 1?
It's 1 tick.
Okay.
So you can just click the first and it's fine. We'll know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing is that everybody needs to bring supplies or have somebody that can bring it for him. Now, if the rookie brings fresh food, that feeds everyone for like a day. So that means that some people can skip and it's okay.
If we just want to have, like, I was just going to have the 2 rookies can take 2, like we can each take a fresh food store and assume that the other rookies also have it. And then you are going to you shouldn't have to take a supply is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Do we need a bedroll since we're going to be...
You should take
Somebody should bring bedrolls, but like on average, like people like the huge Barton can probably bring multiples. So like a rookie can mark tents, which is 2 slots, but that's tents for everyone on the squad.
Right.
They're more
Sounds
like
good.
lean-to, but
I mean, that's all we really need.
I could do that.
Okay.
all right. So I'm not gonna pester you with resistance rolls to see if you're starving and taking hungry damage, or if you're not sleeping and therefore super tired. All right, cool. So 6 on an engagement roll. Wow. Let's. I think we're gonna just jump ahead. So I'm gonna describe a little bit of the approach, but we're just gonna skip ahead to the first like obstacle in a controlled position. You folks spend the better part of 2 days weaving and bobbing past patrols. You don't engage. You don't kill stuff. You basically hide as undead like spread out and like patrol the region. You see some of them like eating the remnants of like people that are dead on the battlefield. You see like their forces dispersing and taking up positions, but you manage largely to like keep yourselves hidden, keep yourselves moving. You actually find a crossage across the river further down. This is several, if you recall, when the bridge blew, there was like a big storm, there was rain, the river grew really swollen, and this is now like days later. Your primary force has reached the little Legion encampment where like there's like some walls and stuff from like previous builds, and you guys have pushed back westward past enemy lines, right? So like you're literally behind multiple units of enemy troops, and kind of being like super sneaky and cautious and everything. And so you reach the walls of Carlsberg, which has many gates, some of which are like broken and fallen over. You see some holes in the walls and things like that. Getting into the town is not impossible. But once you do, it's like changing areas almost, because the walls of Carlsberg are significant, and the city, there are districts of it still that are smoldering, right? Like if you imagine a house fire can last a day, but a house fire that slowly spreads and like when wind comes, the spark flies over and starts somewhere else, can last a very long time. And this city was not small, and it's kind of been burning for a while. So when you step into it, it's like going into some sort of hellscape, right? Like the sky, which was blue outside, is covered in ash and soot, which like flies almost like snow through the streets. There's not a whole lot of sound, so it's like walking through a ghost town where half the buildings are burnt out. It's got like cobbled streets. You see like broken figures and fountains and things like that, and like it's just it's a very different kind of feel. So one of the things that you guys are going to encounter as you're approaching the location where like you see the markers for like where the spy might be is
Who's
yeah, I
talking?
think
Sorry, it's just never mind. There's the background noise.
yeah, does somebody have TV on or something? Oh, okay. Cool. So I think that as you guys reach sort of like the region where you suspect that the spy is, like I'm not going to make you roll for it. You guys pick up some of the markings inside the city, and you're following along them. And as you sort of like reach the area where you suspect this person is hiding out, you see this like house and stuff. You realize right before you cross the street and sort of like approach it, you see sort of like in the streets themselves, there's a thing that you haven't seen before. You hear the sound of clinking chains first, and then only a couple seconds later you see it. There is a squad that is basically patrolling the region, and you've had to like hide inside buildings and run across rooftops and stuff like that. But like this point, you actually you like see them on the road between the two of you, and it's a sequence of troops that you haven't encountered before. It's basically there are several people that they're obviously undead. Okay, so like I'm not going to refer to, like when I say people, I mean undead, right? But they used to be people. And you see a squad of about 5 or 6 of them, and it looks like somebody took, like they look like desiccated thin people, almost as if like the fluids have been drained out of them, and then they've had like large metal plates like attached to them, almost like drilled in like armor, but it looks like somebody actually like bolted them in, and it looks like they were attached red hot, so like the flesh is seared. And you see behind them all, there's this, I want to describe it as like a 7 or an 8 foot figure. It's huge, right? Like it used to be a person once upon a time. It has like this giant metal helmet on and this like huge metal skirt and like pauldrons and gauntlets. Its chest is bare, and there's a hole like right through the midsection where the heart should be. Like you can actually see all the way through it. Like their heart has been like actively removed.
Interesting.
I picture you know those like old Roman gladiators, like that sort of weird conquistador looking helmet thing, like that thing with the little circles where like the face should be, like or like the anyways, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, the
pauldrons.
Holes.
Yeah, that thing.
What we'll say this thing looks like. And it's got the hole in where its chest cavity is supposed to be, and it's holding in one hand a sword that your like heavy would be hard pressed to lift. It's like just this huge metal slab of iron sort of like crossed across one shoulder being carried around, and in one hand it holds the chains that run forward. There's actually two. They were once people, but now they're moving on all fours, and like their lips have been ripped off and they've got their teeth filed to points, and they've got these chains running in and like hooking into their collarbones and like kind of like wrapped around them, and they're walking around on all fours making these like, you know, sniffing noises and like growling noises. And so that's the squad that you see between you and sort of the house where you're planning to go. What do you folks want to do? You're in a controlled position. They haven't spotted you yet.
All right.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna play Zenny. Of rookies, I don't know which rookie you're picking.
It's fine.
I pick Verdant.
Cool. So make sure.
Yeah, I want to be that Panyar for the rest of the group.
So much Panyar.
Well, I guess I'm gonna look at our leader, right? I'm gonna look at our sniper for some orders.
She is going to, through her good eye, see if she could figure out if it's just these. It looks like it's just these 3, and if there's somewhere that this, anywhere else that anyone could be hiding to ambush, or if it's just, what we're up against to kind of see everything, survey.
But by good eye, you mean your cool, mystical, mechanical, eldritch eye, right?
If you guys have ever seen Terminator, where he's got the one weird eye, it's kind of like that, but it glows purple.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Purple's the best color, so I approve.
Do you happen to have research?
Let's see. No.
No one ever takes ever.
It's okay. Well, if you want, Kelsa, when your scout briefs the troops, you should roll a gather info with research, because that might give you some information.
Sure, totally.
Meanwhile, Ginge, would you give me a fortune roll using your scout? So just like click scout, you can say standard or whatever, but like mostly we just want the...
Oh, you meant scout, never mind, I'm sorry. Yep, continue.
The ability scout.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, I'm down.
And then just a straight roll with risky and standard?
Yep.
For some reason, I wanted to think the scout's special ability was scout.
So what I'm going to tell you is you look around with your special eye, and you see these undead, right? And you can actually see like the hounds, like the things that are attached by the chain to this heartless jerk face. You see that they're like somehow, like you can see like almost like a flow of something going into their nostrils. It's obvious they're not just inhaling air. They're not like smelling the way that humans or dogs would. Like they're not picking up a scent. They're picking up something else. And for a split second, when you're like looking around, like with your good eye, trying to spot something, you see like a tiny glow somewhere in another house. But when you go to double check it, it's not there.
She's going to note that house. Just maybe she's a little crazy, maybe she's not, but either way, it's better safe than sorry as far as she's concerned. So she's going to kind of, because I assume she's just sitting up there with her gun with her head over, just looking. She'll come back to the group and with a stick, because she doesn't think that she's necessarily better at this than anyone, but she's like, this is how I do it. And if I'm in control, we're going to do this. And so she's just drawing little like houses, and she's got like a little like a little skull or something to mark the big guy with his little minions. And she's just drawing. And after a few minutes, she's like, okay, so this house, there may be something in there. And then she's going through and just kind of going through ideas of, do we want to go around or do we want to take out, see if I can take a shot and take them out while you guys flank? And she's just kind of running it by the group to see if they have any intel or if they have any ideas on this before we make a decision.
Okay.
Let's do that research roll, or like about what happened.
Yeah,
with it.
I rolled my research roll because I was too excited. I already did it. I got 6.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. I don't think you have any on your. Let me double check. I don't think you have any. Oh yeah, you do. Jenny is probably it. The troops that you're seeing here, the Legion hasn't fought. Like when you hit the when you hit the undead previously, the Legion largely fought against like Blighter's troops and maybe some of Breaker's troops, but like you folks haven't seen these a lot, so you don't have a ton of lore. But you have talked to other people during the war and you have accumulated some notes, so maybe like
people tell me things while I'm at their bedside, so
so you realize that these are the troops of a particular broken called Render. He used to be the chosen for the Zemyati, and the thing that you would know in particular here is that the creatures, the things on the leashes, it's not like people told you that like wind direction is not important, but what they seem to smell is breath. They can actually smell the breath of the living.
Interesting. Yeah, those look like Render's troops. I've heard they can smell the breath of the living regardless of wind direction. We need to be careful.
Can we just hold our breath? Zenny asks, hopefully.
How long can you hold your breath for?
I guess we'll find out.
Long enough.
Can you run and hold your breath?
Just saying.
Noted. And she just goes back to her stick, drawing in the sand. She's just taking notes over here with the stick. It seems a shot with that amount of armor may not take this thing down. We need to get up. We need to... If you throw a fire on that thing, maybe it'll turn it into an oven and cook it. Just throwing out ideas, guys.
I didn't bring any oil.
I did. She hands her a lantern and oil. It's on my little sheet.
I mean, that thing's big. You might not be super fast. If we can set up like maybe a firing line, you can shoot it at least twice before it gets to us, and we can try and kill the dogs off. With the fire, maybe might be better than just throwing. I don't think that thing will care if we set it on fire. Honestly,
it's worth a shot. I think
How do we know these are just the only ones around?
That's also a good point.
I will say one thing. Even though your scout roll was not very good, you do not see anything. Like your eye reveals even invisible things, and you cannot see anything for at least a street or two. That's not to say that it won't start an alarm or like a ton of noise won't attract more action, but it won't be from like nearby.
Okay. Yeah. She'll relay that information and then go into... if we could take these down, even if more come, this looks like our problem. These look like the ones that we're going to have the most issue with. If I can pick off one of the dogs, that thing can't run very fast in that armor. Look at it.
Right. We don't. So, I mean, play it up real quick. We don't know what house they're in, right? Like we don't know that yet, right?
The person we're trying to get.
Yeah.
No.
We haven't found the house with that the spy told us that the symbols are there.
So actually, you suspect that if you can get past, so like imagine that there's like maybe like a circle of houses around like a fountain in the middle, and then there's like a little road leading out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know that according to the symbols, the spy is hiding in one of those houses, but there's no easy approach from any other vector. Like you have to kind of go up the road and through that little cul-de-sac, right? And the thing is, the undead are in the cul-de-sac, right? Like that's just
there's
how
no
it
way
is.
out.
So there's no way. All right.
Uh,
There's no value in some people splitting up and some people being a diversion and
Who's the
for other
fastest?
people to slip in.
it's possible. What you're watching them do is
Sorry, that was in character, but
Yeah.
but I get it. Yeah.
Splitting up seems bad. We don't know how many more there might be in there, and if there are more of them than more of us, then that seems strength in numbers, right? Basic stuff we've learned.
I'm going to be the most use up here for now, at least.
Yeah.
We may want to. Is there a way to get behind that we can see? Is there a way, like, there's a main street and then there's houses, but is there a row of houses behind that we could get through alleys and like we could all go in one? Like, there's just that one way in.
It's not that. It's that these are like packed city blocks. London is a good kind of idea. It's the fact that you're not 100% sure what the route is to try and get behind them. It could take you like 30 minutes of careful creeping through the city. You might encounter other patrols, and you're not 100% sure. The easiest route would probably be to get like somewhere behind there, climb to the rooftops, try to interconnect the rooftops, but that's also kind of dicey. So it's possible. You can take a different route if you'd like.
The rooftop idea sounds like an okay one if we can get rid of these guys first. Easier defense from the dogs and stuff, because then they'd have to go up the stairs and stuff, and that doesn't seem like they'd have to file in.
What if we file them down the street towards us? I take a shot from the end of the street. Obviously, they'll attack, release these things towards us. We can funnel them down.
The only thing I have to say about that is guns are loud.
Then we'll go quickly. Better we take them out now than we get ambushed later if we ignore them.
Pulls out fine pistol. All right, then.
The only other thing I can think of is setting a trap for them at this end of the street and funnel them down. Let them accidentally catch wind of one of us. We all fan out. If it goes south, I take the shot.
And you can use the oil to sort of like set the trap, right? Like light fire in front of you, so they have to run through it.
Trap doesn't seem like a terrible idea, but that's risky. It's up to you, Commander. Or officer, whatever, leader. Tell us what we're doing and we'll do it.
All right, position yourselves at the bottom of the bridge. You march forward. I take the shot. We pull them in. Anything else, I'll be able to see it coming. At least it won't be a total surprise. Either way, it's going to be messy.
All right.
Aye. Oh, aye. Wait, no. Yes. Sorry.
Sir.
Salute.
All right, cool. So what I'm hearing is the sniper wants to try and get into. Did you want to go inside one of the buildings and try and get into a position, or did you want to just like hunker down behind these people, maybe like take a step up on a lamppost or something to try and line it up?
Is it like, maybe I could get on top of like a lantern or something, like one of the posts, and just kind of crouch on it and maybe like hook my leg under it so I can steady my shot and just aim straight through, and they can just go on either side of the street so they're not in the line of fire.
Yeah, so the national symbol of Aldermark is this like weird many-headed Hydra-looking monster. And somebody has like, this is like fancy British houses, like Victorian era roughly is what I want you to think of. Somebody has like those pillars on their fence, and they have this like monster in like a pose. And so like you can easily like hop up on that and like put your gun on that and like fire from it and try and use the stone as a little bit of cover. Does that sound fine?
Yeah, she doesn't want to go into a building. She wants to be easily accessible if she has to run and help.
Awesome. That sounds great. And the rest of you folks are basically like forming a line and starting to advance down the street. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's sounds about right.
Cool. So let's try and sketch this out super quick because
it's right about the hour mark. You want us to take a break so you can work on that?
Ooh, yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
Let's do that.
Let's take a break then. How long do you think you're